Welcome to Talking Again podcast. This is The Tap. I am your host, Fidel Avendaño. Thank you for tuning in to the podcast with stories from fascinating people, some of them my closest friends and family. I hope you enjoy the show. Now let's tap into it.
If I could do karaoke, I can think I could do this.
The Morrissey Okie.
Karaoke, which we haven't gone.
I know, dude. I'm so terrible. Well, we can't now.
But yeah,
Thanks
even
to
then.
the coronavirus.
Yeah. Well, this could be COVID-19 episode 2.
Yeah.
Season. What is this? What year is this for you doing the podcast?
This would be my second year of podcasting. Yeah.
But is this with Tap though?
No, okay. The Tap would be the first year. I'm 6 months in.
Okay, so this would be season 1, depending on how many episodes. So episode COVID-19 shot 2.
There you go.
Something, yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. During the pandemic.
Yeah. Oh my God.
This nutcase decided to come out here and brave the pandemic and come out and join a friend.
And the nutcase that he's talking about is Paul Guzman, my friend Paul Guzman. Thank you very much for coming.
Yep.
We are not practicing the social distancing today.
Nope.
But this is fair enough.
Yeah, I think so. That works. Yeah.
Pretty close, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the good thing is that we do have alcohol.
Yep.
And that kind of helps a little bit, I think.
Cheers.
Cheers, salud. Even though some people might say that it brings down your immune system, it makes me stronger.
I would agree.
Get that tiger blood in you.
That's right.
Not King Tiger or Tiger King. Remember that Netflix episode that everybody's talking about?
Right.
Is it Tiger King?
King Tiger?
King Tiger?
I don't know.
Something like that.
Right.
I'm only throwing that in there for the hashtag so I can use it on the keyword and get more views.
There you go.
So Paul, again, thank you again for coming on.
No worries.
Yeah, dude. Well, since we kind of talked about it right now, that coronavirus thing. I had 2 episodes already talking about it, and I don't really want to. I wanted to get away from it, but it's kind of hard to not, talk about it.
The elephant in the room, so to
Yeah,
speak. Yeah.
right. Yeah. So, how have you been dealing with it? How are you adjusting to it?
Well, it really is quite surreal. In that, I'm usually a homebody, unless it's doing something. But I've been working from home strictly now since Tuesday, but prior to that, I was working at least twice a week. So I was used to that, and I kind of enjoy that. It gives me a sense of freedom in being at home.
So you were working twice a week from home even before all this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
How long were you doing that for?
I've been doing my current role. I've been doing that for 3 years, but I've been working from home since about, I would say, August of last year, September or August of last year.
Is there any reason why? It just be like cutting costs around the office, or?
I wanted the opportunity. Well, there were certain lines of business within our with where I work that get the opportunity to work from home. Okay. So I had asked around, and they said based on my performance and based on my tenure with the company, they believe that I'm one that they can rely on, who won't take advantage of not being from working from home. So they gave me the opportunity to work from home, which I greatly appreciate. The fact that the company trust me, my credibility within the office means a lot to me. So I've built up that credibility. It's kind of what I do. I don't kind of mess around. Sometimes I'm always thought of as this kind of hard ass, but I think that for me, I like to have fun at work, but I like to get the job done. Right. And if I can have the flexibility of being able to work from home, why not? Yeah. And so right now our office is going through that right now where they're getting laptops for the rest of the office so that they can work from home.
How now working from home for you, the adjustment since August, how has it been for you? Like at first when you first started to now, like obviously you can say you've probably perfected working from home, but at first was it hard? A struggle?
I still have issues when our customers ask questions about a certain service or product, and I don't know the answer to. So I go to my inner office instant message, and they're not. The leadership team is not there to quickly answer as I would like them to be. But thankfully, there is someone. There are team members there who I can reach out to and ask them a question. So they're really quick to respond. But that's the only downside to it. Other than that, honestly, the great thing is just being able to wake up, brush my teeth, and get ready to go. I was listening to the news actually on the way over here about how people are. I think it's either the fashion industry or what, that they're taking pictures from home in their kind of like their work from home outfit.
Yeah.
So if I had social media, I guess maybe that would be the thing, sweats and a sweater and a hat, and I'm ready to work. There's no need to dress up in a collared t-shirt or khakis or anything like that. So get to save money on gas.
Food, right?
Food. Well, still got to eat at home.
Right. Yeah. But
But for the most part, I'm not eating in the cafeteria. But I do miss some of my coworkers, I have to admit. But other than that, I'm good.
Do you see, or that this might be the start of a new trend? Maybe like now a lot of people are going to start working from home. Like you just mentioned, they're getting laptops at your work. I know my wife; they've already supplied them with laptops for some of them. Some of these kids are all have laptops or notebooks or whatever. What is it called? Tablets that they're working from now. Do you see a trend, or do you see this could be trending into something new?
As a matter of fact, before this whole self isolation took action, I was actually using this as a platform, the work from home as a platform to get more people to come into our office, into our line of business. Even when I had applied for another role within my company, especially in management, that's something that I was going to bring to the forefront and have that flexibility. I'm sure that for myself as a single person, I think it's a luxury, right? But I think that it benefits a parent, who has children. Maybe they could work from home, set that up, make it a little easier. So I see it obviously as a selling point going forward to have that flexibility. Offer it. You don't have to work from home, but make it an opportunity. If you choose to work from home, you get that opportunity. I think that would be a great selling point. It doesn't work for all lines of business, definitely. It doesn't work like in the retail world. I don't know about you, but I like to try on my clothes. I like the brick and mortar. I like walking into a place, which is kind of interesting because now with all these with the restrictions and the closures, it's going to be great getting back into the public, public space again and being able to go to a store and try on something. I really would see the appreciation of being able to do that again.
Yeah. You mentioned some like parents, right? Them preferring their kids at home. I think after this week or two that I've seen some of the posts, some of the memes, I don't think parents want these kids. They don't think they want them out tomorrow. Like go back to school. You know what I mean? Because it's gonna take some time to adjust for the parents. I mean, a lot of them are working from home now. They're having to work from home, but also care for their children,
right?
And make sure that they're on top of their academics. Because my kid has a full-on schedule,
right?
I think it's like from 9 to 6 or something like that. He's got a full-on schedule, and then it even has the other suggested schedule, which is after school, like when you should be eating your dinner, after dinner, what you should be doing, going to bed at this time, and if you want to sleep a little later, okay, but no TV, no electronics,
right?
Like, so you have to you're trying to follow that guideline of the kids, but not only that, yourself,
right.
your school, and it's tough. We have a 1-year-old, so for my wife, it's really hard for her right now. Lily, right? So she's trying to adjust to everything, and it's difficult. So I'm helping out as much as I can, more than I've ever helped out.
Right.
Which I think for me, it makes me feel really good to see that she's not stressing out so much when I'm able to help out.
Right.
So,
and that again goes to the single perspective, right?
Right.
I don't see it from a marriage couple perspective and their kids. So I would have to agree. And my hands down to you for managing two jobs. You're managing your work and then you're managing your children. So family life is definitely in itself is a job. So shout out to all my cousins who are doing that as well and their families. And that's just an amazing work that you guys all do. So I think in the end, the kids will appreciate it as we get through these times. And it's just building a bond that I think harkens back to World War II. You know, they say that was the greatest generation that had to really make sacrifices. Yeah. So this is a whole different dynamic in this generation, that's for sure.
Well, we've never experienced anything like this. We've had viruses, we've had those scares, but never anything like this. I don't remember the last time. You may know you're a 70s baby, so you've lived a little bit longer on this earth than I have, but I don't remember ever having to be quarantined. You know,
no, quarantine is definitely,
and not that we are. I know people throw that around a lot, but I don't really think we're quarantined.
Right.
It's yet to come, and I think it will come. The 2-week mandatory, don't leave your house, unless you're gonna get supplies, or essentials, how they say. But
the only thing that I can really think about that had a greater impact, but of course there was no quarantine, but had the greater scare. Was the AIDS epidemic when that first came out.
Yeah, we were just talking about that, right? Yeah. Do you remember? Yeah, how old were you when
that happened? When I was 19, 20, 21, because I remember.
I thought you said 1920. I'm like, wait, I got my notes wrong.
No, when I was 19 years old, 21. Okay. So it was around 89, 90.
All right.
So I think it was late 80s, definitely going into the 90s. There was that concern. Of course, the discussion was it was in the predominantly gay community, but you never knew back then, So there was that opportunity if you had any kind of relationship with a woman, you didn't know who their partner was and things of that nature. So you were just kind of rolling the dice. Yeah. And so believe me, when I took that first test, and it took a week to find out if I was negative or positive, and to find out that I was negative. I mean, oh my God, I can remember not sleeping the night before, realizing that was out there. But that's the only real type of, the only time that I really see that it kind of harkens to this. Of course, it didn't isolate anybody.
But there's definitely some kind of scare, which what we see now, right?
Right. And then it also, made headlines as well in the sports community when Magic Johnson had HIV, right? Mm-hmm. And then players didn't want to play with him because of the blood and sweat, and there was just that confusion of how can you get it. Mm-hmm. And now that this is happening and it has impacted all sports, it kind of goes back to the surrealism of, I can get by staying at home, no problem. But since it has impacted my ability for entertainment, especially sports entertainment, now I'm going a little stir crazy.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can only watch so many Netflix shows,
so many podcasts,
YouTube watch, right? And stuff. But it is just like, God, I gotta get myself out there and kind of do something and walk around my neighborhood or something, but just get active. And I think that's a real, I think that's a positive thing. Mm-hmm. Now it's getting me off my butt to do something and be active. Yeah. So that's
they say
that's
like positive. It takes 2 weeks to create a habit. So if this is going to be longer than 2 weeks, which is probably going to be longer than 2 weeks, we're going to create these habits, which is a good thing, right? Right. Of less electronics, maybe. Well, for there's some people that all they're doing right now is like, hey, I get to stay home and watch as much as I can. But eventually it's going to run out. Right. Especially when there's no one out there producing any new things, new content. Right. Except for podcasters, because they're still doing it. But there may be a new pattern, a new different way of living, and the quarantine life.
And it's interesting that you bring that up too, because I truly do believe in the idea of, social media has, in my opinion, eliminated being social. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You get your phone, you go on there, and you're just stuck to the Instabook or whatever it is. and so you forget how to interact with others.
Yeah.
I have family members, kids who really are kind of, it seems, antisocial, and they're very awkward when they're trying to talk in front to people.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, when we grew up, even you, I mean, I may have grown up in the 70s, but you didn't grow up. I mean, you didn't have social media when you
No.
grew up. You had to be forced to talk to people.
Yeah.
I can remember my dad always telling me to go talk to my aunt or go and talk to my uncle.
Mm-hmm.
I may have kind of pushed back a little
Right,
bit of
yeah.
it, but I really do appreciate that.
Well, I've always said, like, my son's never gonna know what it is to just go in your room, get the ball that you have right there, just throw it up in the air, and just stare at the ball while you catch it for 45 minutes, or stare at a wall for 45 minutes.
Right.
I mean, without being punished.
Right.
Just because you're like, well, I already played outside. There's nothing. I mean, there's so much TV you could watch. Wrestling was over, so I'm not watching that on a Saturday afternoon. It's done. And you just sit there and just throw the ball. You'll never know that.
And it helps incite creativity, I think. Like growing up as a child, in the 70s, Star Wars was a big impact on my life. And so having those figures and being creative, creating my own stories, creating my own kind of own worlds through this one movie, I mean, had such a big impact. And so it was always just a fun thing. I couldn't wait to go home to play with these toys. Or from a sports perspective, I love all sports, but my primary sport is baseball.
Yeah.
So I would just take the tennis ball, take my glove, take my hat, go out to the backyard and just throw the ball against the wall.
Yeah.
But I would have a game. I would do a full 9 innings, visitor and home.
Yeah.
And so it was just a way to be active, be creative. I mean, my friends, when I lived in Rosemead, we lived in a cul-de-sac. So we had the ability to play, during the summer after we did our homework. So we would play baseball, football until the sun goes down.
Yeah.
And even we play in the dark because we had the street lights.
Right.
And so those things, those times were amazing. We'd play hide and go seek at night, and it just, the freedom of not being, hey, where are these kids or what's going on?
Yeah.
There was definitely a different time. Definitely a different time.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there was no, we didn't have fear, because I remember all that stuff too. We didn't have that fear that there is now, or our parents, I should say, didn't have the fear that we have as parents with our kids out there. Like, we just wouldn't, I would never allow it, But going back to that, like, I know that it's our job right now as parents, in this new way of living of social media, because it's one thing when you parented during the time without social media, and then parenting with social media. Not you that's your struggle. That's your verses. That's your, that's the antagonist in the story. Right. So now that's our battle, and sometimes I feel like it's an uphill battle, but I definitely, literally have to be we have to be the bad guys and take away that stuff and go,
right.
No, you're going out there and you're going to play. But guess what? It's not just going out there and play. No, that means you put yourself in that spot too.
Right.
And you got to go out there and play. Now, I took Vincent out to run the ladder drill, right? And he didn't want to do it. The only way I can get him to do it was he had to compete against me. So that's it. Now he wants to do it all the time.
Right.
Let's go on there. So now, hey, two birds, one stone. I'm going to work out now,
right.
and he's going to get in shape, or get out there and start doing other stuff. But it's challenging, if anything, right? It's just challenging, but it's something that we have to adjust, just like this right here. You know? It's adjustments that we have to make, and it ain't going anywhere. I'm sorry. Hopefully the COVID does go away.
Right.
But the electronics and as far as the social media, it's not going to go anywhere.
Oh no,
it's going to get worse.
It's going to get bigger.
Whatever they can put in your hands that's easier, faster, more convenient, it's going to happen. It's
right.
just a progression of time, right? It's been going on. But for you, though, without social media, and that was one of my notes because you crossed out a couple things already that we're going to get back to. So no social media, man. Why was it? Because I know you had it at one time. You had something.
If you remember, I know it's probably a bit ago.
The MySpace?
The Google Plus.
The Google Plus.
Google Plus. So if you still have it, yep.
Yeah. Are you still on Google Plus?
Well, no, they closed it.
Oh,
so.
okay. I was saying, yeah. I got rid of that.
So that was the only social media that I had. But the reason behind not having it, I I don't want to seem like some type of hypocrite, but meaning I don't have social media where I'm not on Facebook or Instagram or anything like that.
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn, none of that.
Yeah.
Because I just, for me, I wanna get my information or stay in close contact with the friends that I've known and loved and family that I know and love. They know they know how to get a hold of me. My phone number hasn't changed since 19. I would say before like when I was living in Fontana, which was around 92.
Damn.
So my phone number had changed when I was going to move out to Westwood, and so I needed a 310 area code, and so that's when I changed my phone number to the current number that I have, and it's never changed.
Yeah.
So I believe that for me personally, and this may be for selfish reasons, but I believe that if someone wants to get a hold of me, they can text me.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and it's becoming more and more people prefer texting to calling, and it's funny how if you see a voicemail, it's like, whoa, it's got to be something serious. If there's a voicemail, you know,
Right,
they could have
yeah.
just sent a text. But yeah, you know, I figured, you know what, if they were important, if it was important, people knew how to get a hold of me. If they wanted to share someone's birthday or something of that nature, it would be just through my phone. Give me a call, send me a text message. Same thing. If I'm going to reach out and wish someone a happy birthday, if they haven't changed their phone number, I'll send them a birthday text. Wish them a happy Father's Day, you know,
Yeah.
send them a text, you know, for me, that was my social media. If I went on a trip or anything like that, I would send them pictures. Here's my picture directly to you because you mean that much to me.
Yeah.
This is a direct message to you. So that was my feeling behind it. It was not getting caught up in MySpace, not getting caught up in Facebook.
But not ever having it or registering for it or whatever. What made you just know that this is where it's gonna? Because there's some people that have let it consume them, right? Because we don't. There's a time when we used to consume products, now product consume us.
Right.
What did you see this coming ahead of time? Like, did you know what was gonna happen, or what was your turnoff to?
You know what it was? It was at a gathering actually, and I remember I was talking to friends, and they were talking about, you know, their kids and stuff, and so I think what it was actually, it was about video games. And at that time, you know, I was a gamer, meaning that I mean, I had Atari 2600, but I only got as far as the NES. You know, so my favorite game was Russian Attack. So you know, I remember played the whole night, you know, winning that game. You know,
Yeah.
and so someone was talking about their child is just at home playing games, you know, and they had mentioned how they felt comfortable. At least they knew they were home.
Yeah.
And I saw that and I heard that. And I'm like, huh, but how would they, you know, interact socially? How is that going to help build their social skills?
Yeah.
And I don't know. I'm a sucker for sports. I love sports.
Yeah.
You know, it was a way that built my character, you know, and God bless my dad for, you know, instilling that in me when I was very young. You know, that's one thing that really was a common bond. And then I practiced with my dad, and then being on a team, and you're working through teamwork. You're doing this together. You're creating a goal, and just that time together as a team really had such an impact on me. You know, it's like, oh, you know, I had so many good friends that I had through baseball and Little League, and so I felt that was a disconnect. Video games, which led into kind of social media, was a disconnect. Yeah, you're meeting people at a global level.
Yeah.
But I don't know about you, but I'd like to interact with you,
Right.
face to face, talk to you. That to me was the important factor to stay away from social media. And I know that, you know, I have family in Mexico and up north that they use that for the purpose of getting a hold of anybody. And I see that as valuable, but at the same time, I can funnel that through my father. You know, it's just greater communication with my father and say, hey, Dad, how's the family in Mexico? How's the family up north? You know, and if they were doing well and things of that nature. And then I've reached out to them too on certain occasions, and I've always invited them to come stay with April and I. So I extend those invitations to them all the time.
Yeah.
That's where I see that. That's where I saw that as the end of kind of being social, and just being. And I mean, it's awkward enough, sometimes trying to get along with friends and with people. But then just to kind of be stuck on your phone, it's just, I don't know. I felt that it was, I think it's kind of rude.
Yeah. No, and it's crazy because you didn't fall into that pressure of not having it, because it's been out for many years. Social media. If you go back to think about MySpace, and then it was the Facebook, and then the Twitter. I don't even have a Twitter, but
Yeah.
the only reason why I started my Facebook on again because I started podcasting, and I knew that I needed to put the show out there. So
Of course.
but the reason why I started podcasting was for the same reasons that you just said it right now. Like, there's no more interaction like this, no more conversations. Like, let's just talk. I know there's a camera there, but I just try not to see it and think about it so much. But sometimes you get into the conversation and you forget,
Right.
where you're recording for 2 hours,
Right.
and it's happened already.
Mm-hmm.
But because we don't have these conversations anymore. Even if you go to a party, like a family gathering, you're gonna see half the parties on their phone.
Right.
Or if not, they're trying to get that video or that photo so that they can upload it to their Facebook and put it out there, so that the same people were at that party are liking and commenting on that video. Where it just kind of it seems almost redundant.
And it's interesting too that you bring that up. For me, I like things more private. And what I mean by that is, you mentioned a social gathering. So I know that for me, I'd rather have it more intimate. And I mean that in a sense that I like to have it with my intimate, close friends. Sure, I'd love to share, a birthday party, a monumental birthday party with everybody that I could. But it loses its... I don't get the opportunity to speak with the persons that I really care about as long as I get to, right? I have to be, hey, I invited you. Hey, great. How are you doing? Oh, good. Okay. Now let me get back to, talking to my brother, right?
Yeah.
And it's not that I don't want to disregard them coming, but I think for me, it's more of, if I have something more intimate, I get to spend more time with you in that conversation.
Yeah.
This, to me, is what's important. I mean, do I like to be at a big party or be a bit big shindig? Sure, who doesn't? But I mean, I would much rather prefer a party of 10 celebrating my birthday or celebrating a certain event than a party of 50.
Yeah.
Having to work around the floor, I mean,
it's a lot of work.
It is. I totally agree. But if we could just have somebody, if we could just have the party set at a table, and just, share stories and, break bread and just have good drinks, good time, good conversation, good music. I mean, to me, that's what it's all about.
Yeah. That's why I like, like you said, the social media thing and being private. On social media, you post everything that's going on throughout your whole day. So when I do get to see my family, right? They try to talk to me about, hey, let me tell you about my daughter's. I already saw it. I already know. You posted it there 4 times. So when you and I are interacting with each other, we're talking, and you say, hey, Fida, how you doing? I know that it's coming from a genuine place. I know that you really want to know how I'm doing and how my day has gone or how my week has gone. So that's why we'll sit and we'll talk for hours about it sometimes.
Absolutely.
So there is some to that, where when I see someone on a Facebook friend that says, how you doing? And then they follow up with let me tell you about this and this and that or something, I know that it wasn't genuine. You really don't want to know how I'm doing. It's just like a way of just saying, let me... It's an icebreaker so I can tell you what I want to tell you.
Exactly,
you know
exactly. I mean? It's just the way of getting your foot in the door, so to speak. But yeah, no, the personal interaction with what's going on, especially now, means so much more.
Yeah.
That's why it's driving me more stir crazy that I don't have that interaction with the people that I care about.
Yeah. Well, I commend you for not having social media and not falling into it. It's hard. I mean, well, for me, I would not be able to not have it.
Right.
And I think about that, dude. if something was to happen and all this shit just gets wiped away, no social media, no cell phones, like what are we gonna do? You know, like, I don't have a landline at home.
Mm-hmm.
Do you?
Right. Oh yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know if you
Exactly.
have one or not, but I don't have one.
I do have a landline because it comes with the
Oh,
you got to
the
get the
package.
bundle.
Yeah, right,
Yeah.
right.
But you're absolutely right. It's like, you know, it goes back to just how we evolve. We will get through. You know, we'll get through this pandemic. If social media is taken away, people know how to communicate.
Right.
You know, it's funny though. I don't remember phone numbers. You know, so I'll
Yeah.
be kind of like
Yeah.
SOL there. But I'll have to write everything on a napkin like
Dude,
I did when I was
I've
younger.
been thinking about getting all my contacts and just backing them up, and not on a hard drive, backing them up on like a folder, like
Yeah.
print them all out and put them on a folder.
Yeah.
Just because I'm like, you never know. Like right now, those are my thoughts. Like, what if all this shit gets taken away?
Yeah.
Like I record all these. I have a little over 30 episodes.
Mm.
I don't have any of them backed up. Like people say I should back them up. I don't have them backed up because I got YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
What if YouTube gets taken away?
Right.
You know,
Right.
because they have a lot of commercials, a lot of ads where it's starting to get like people are starting to watch your shit other places.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I still haven't learned of them yet, but I will, and I'll probably start watching them there too.
Right.
Where now it's going to start making me think I need to start posting somewhere else.
Right.
But I don't know, just it's a little. It seems like there's a lot more serious shit that we should be worried about, and a lot of times we worry too much about the social media stuff.
Exactly. What people think.
Yeah.
You know,
My likes, like if I was to tell you like, oh, I really like the photo at your house, like it's genuine. I'm telling you, I really like it, but it seems like it's watered down now. These likes now, they're like, hey, I got 78 likes or I got 154 or 450 likes. It's watered down.
You know, it's funny how you mentioned likes on the phone. You know, when someone uses their Apple phone, you can select liked.
I do that all the time.
Right. But on an Android, it when someone hits like, it has the whole statement that you liked.
Oh,
So as an Android user, I get the whole thing.
oh,
So
say
if I said
Fidel liked the photo that you just sent or something like that,
Right,
or the comment that you just placed.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So it's interesting that's an interesting thing that I get that comment
Yeah,
twice.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's bad. It's laziness. I don't know.
But
Like,
what are you gonna do about it? It's here. It's here.
Yeah.
It's gonna be here. It's how we evolve, how we adapt to it. And I think social media has its benefits, just like anything else. Just like
Right,
the
of
internet.
course,
Internet
yeah.
has its benefits,
Yeah.
right? And so it's allowing, this generation, the next generation, just be smart with how they use it and realize that there's a life outside of your phone.
Yeah.
Experience it.
Yeah. Open your eye. What was it? Oh shit! I just told this to Vincent. You're gonna miss it. I was watching Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Oh yeah.
And I had him watch it with me, and he
Yeah.
really enjoyed the movie. Maybe a little too much, where now he's thinking about how he can get away with things.
Yeah.
Around the house. Nah. But what was it? The line that he says, "We should open your eyes a little bit more because you might miss something."
You might miss life or something like that.
Yeah. So I told him that, and I stopped and I told him, like, explained to him, like, look, this is why I tell you sometimes, like, put the phone away or stop asking me for the phone while we're taking a long drive and just look around.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna see a lot of cool things. You might start counting cars. I don't know, like,
Right.
just little things like that is kind of like what I miss.
Yeah.
Because we get distracted. I mean, like we were saying, this is like a time to take that break and away from the distractions, because we're surrounded with distractions all day long.
Right.
You a lot less because of the social media,
Mhm.
but I mean, most of us are surrounded with too many distractions.
Yeah.
And it's a time to kind of slow down and continue.
Smell the roses.
Smell the roses. Yeah.
There's a lot of beauty out there, and you get the opportunity to see it, because if you keep your head down, you're gonna miss it.
Yeah.
And I think that was the cornerstone of what Ferris Bueller meant.
Yeah.
There's a lot of beauty out there, so get the chance to enjoy it, because you never know. There may be a pandemic that prevents you from doing that.
Yeah. Well, like you were saying right now, keep your head down. It just reminds me of when you're helping us out coaching the boys for baseball, helping them out.
Yeah.
It's funny how that was a really bad segue, but I'm segueing it anyways. Some of the coaches or some of the parents I see, like, trying to help out, like they're actually trying to help out, and that's great. but sometimes they don't know. And then I was in that place where I didn't know too, but I'm learning as I go. I've learned from you many times. I've learned from your brother Rudy. I've learned from many coaches that I've coached with. But I still see some of them that tell them the same mistakes where keep your head down when they're hitting.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that's like they can't see the ball if their head is down. So how can they keep
Right.
their head down? But I get it. It's the chin down, looking up. But you had said earlier how baseball was so important to you. Can you elaborate a little bit more and explain how important it was for you
Well,
growing up in Little League?
absolutely. My father, came from Mexico, and you know, um, he met my mom and everything, and here I am. But he was a big sports fan, and as a Mexican, trying to fit into the community that he was living in now, which was Los Angeles. He, became a Dodgers fan, Raiders, Lakers, but predominantly baseball was the main sport that we played together. So I can remember from when I was really young. One of the pictures that I hold dear to my heart was when I was very young, and I'm at we're at Dodger Stadium, and we're in the parking lot, and we're walking away. I think it's the left field pavilion, and you can see the sign, and so it's just me standing around out there. But that has left an endearing part of moment in my heart. So that led to him and I playing catch in the backyard, going to the schoolyard, going to the park. He hitting the ball. He would hit the balls to me, or he'd pitch the balls to me and everything. And so it was just a great moment that we got to share. And so it led into, him putting me in Little League, but late in life. When I say late in life, Little Leaguers, what time, how old was Vincent when he put him in
He was
Little League?
about 3.5 or 4 years old.
3.5, 4 years old. I didn't start playing until I was in 5th grade.
Okay.
So
like 10 or 11 years old.
Yeah. So I was late. I didn't get to play T-ball. I didn't play minors. I went into majors, but thankfully I was okay. I held my own.
Yeah.
And I just met a bunch of new friends. I just loved the game. I just, the ball, the glove, the bat, just, running around, getting dirty. I loved that whole atmosphere of baseball. And then it was just a time for my father and I to bond. We got to go to the games a lot, especially during Fernando Mania.
Right.
So that was around 81, 82. And one of the moments that really stood out in my mind was actually a moment that was captured in one of his documentaries, where this young lady ran out into the field against
give
him a kiss during a Giants game when we were there.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So that was just, the stadium went nuts, and it was just a great time. And so it was a kid who was pitching from Mexico. My dad was so proud. It was proud to be Mexican. It was just great for the community. And I felt, oh man, I'm glad to be Mexican and American. And, this is just building, it was just making us closer. And so, it really just developed from there, and just wanted to continue to play. Played Little League ball, met some great friends, played high school ball. And just I played park ball. I coached Little League when I was in Fontana, when I moved out there for 3 seasons. So it was just a passion, and being able to travel and go see teams at other parks. It's the same game, but you're seeing different cities, and it was quite the experience. One which I credit my father for really bestowing on me, and it was just such a blessing, and I love him for that, and I'm very grateful for that.
Now, when you coach those kids in Little League in Fontana, did you have an in, or did you just say, hey, can I coach? Can I go to the Little League? Can I just coach?
I asked if I can coach.
Really?
Yeah, I went to one of their Little League park. It was Fontana Elks Little League, and I went to one of the things. I said, hey, you guys need a coach? Sure. It was unfortunate that I got to be the Giants, but hey, what are you going to do?
Yeah, you don't get to pick those. Huh?
Yeah. We had a good team. We didn't win a lot of games, but it was just fun. Again, getting the kids together, and you know, not having any kids of my own, this was a great way to have, you know, kind of like the, hey, Coach Paul, you know, that was just, it was so good to hear, you know, and they
Yeah.
look up at you. And there was one year we had the coaches and coaches, a little softball league game. And so it was just one of my little moments that I had. And the kids, you know, hey, Coach Paul, when are you going to hit a home run?
Yeah.
And just luckily I hit one, and it was just,
Yeah, you went like this.
well, I didn't call my shot, but getting the opportunity to hit one
Yeah.
was, you know, in front of the kids, and they just like, oh, Coach Paul, you know,
Yeah.
it's just so nice to see the kids
That's
just
cool.
look up to you and just,
Yeah.
you know, have some fun with that. And
Yeah.
those, again, cherished memories.
Yeah, those are fun, man. It's a good feeling when you can have a kid that comes up to you and thanks you.
Yeah.
Hey, man, I just want to thank you for coaching me this year. Like, what the, you know, that's cool, man. That's really,
It has a big impact,
Yeah.
you know, and that led into my career, you know, wanting to be a trainer of some sort, or knowing that when I go into my current role, you know, having to work with the new hires as closely as I try to do it. When I was a supervisor, that was one of the things that I always enjoyed to do, was giving that opportunity to a new employee to say, hey, if you listen to the direction I'm going to give you, and use the tools that I'm going to provide to you to be successful, you're going to use this job as a platform or a springboard to something new within this company. And so that's the way I took the ethics of baseball and working as a team into my professional life.
Yeah.
And always wanting to help those, because then when they would come back and say, hey, Paul, you know, I couldn't have done this without you. You believed in me, and you know, you gave me some pointers to help me in interviews. It just really is, you know, I hearken all that back to baseball.
yeah. Baseball really is the greatest sport ever played, huh?
I would agree. I would agree. And I know there are others out there who would say that football is, you know, the best sport. And I don't disagree. I love all sports.
Yeah.
I love all sports. For me, I was too small to play football. I was an asthmatic, you know, so I couldn't run. So baseball was perfect. You know, I could run from base to base.
Yeah.
Run in the most I had to run is the outfield,
Yeah.
right? But and I couldn't play basketball. But this for me was the kind of the right choice.
Yeah.
And I really do appreciate it. Yeah.
You say you love all sports, but your team selection is a little bit questionable sometimes.
Right.
You're a baseball fan. You like the Blue Jays.
Well, no. So kind of going back to, you know, following what my dad wanted to, you know, I followed my dad's teams, the Dodgers, Lakers, Raiders, right? But as I got older, I mean, I could say that I started following the Blue Jays about like third grade. When I wanted to come into my own, right? Have my own team, you know, go out for myself. And, you know, this is what I found. I followed the Blue Jays. I followed the Bengals.
Still do.
Yeah. And I followed the Heat, you know. So now I know these teams, and I follow them religiously, in a sense that I have my Dodgers. They're still the foundation of my baseball passion, right? But I also like the Blue Jays. So I really do like that idea of interleague, because now I've been able to see the Blue Jays play the Dodgers. And the first time I got to go to Toronto was in 2013, I think it was, when the Blue Jays played in Toronto. So
The Dodgers.
The Dodgers played in Toronto. So that was their first time in Toronto, and I got to go to that one of their games. And so that was quite the experience.
Oh, sure. I bet
It was
yeah.
It was fun. And Dodgers won. But it was
a win-win for you.
It was a win-win. And the second time the Dodgers went to Toronto was during Mother's Day weekend in 2016. And we went there for the whole weekend. And the Dodgers swept the Blue Jays. But I caught my first foul ball. Caught my first foul ball. Chase Utley hit the foul ball off of R.A. Dickey, bare hand, I caught my first foul ball.
Nice.
1 for 3 in foul balls, official foul balls.
Really?
Yeah.
One beer, one hand, beer in one hand, and then
Didn't do that. No, it was like, whoa, I can't believe this is coming. This is actually coming. And then
was it right to you, or did you stretch out and jack it from someone else?
No. It came right to me and it hit me on my chest and it just rolled onto my arm and I just, I caught it like that. And this parent behind me with his daughter said, "Hey, why don't you give it to the little girl?" And I go, "I would if this wasn't my first one, but it is my first one, and I don't want to be a jerk." But yeah. So those were free tickets. I was trying to buy tickets for that Saturday game, and some guy just saw me, and I was in the line of the ticket booth, and he's like, "Hey, I got a pair of tickets. You want to come join me and my fiance?" And I said, "Sure, why not? They're free on the field."
And you're still alive?
And I'm still alive. Yeah.
I've been like, I don't know, man. What are you gonna do to me?
Yeah,
you gotta come pick them up at my house. I live by the alley.
No, well, it was a good thing I was at the stadium, so it was at the ticket booth. So
no, I asked you about the team thing because, like you said, you follow the Bengals, the Heat. Is because I was kind of going through that with my son. Right now he wanted. He's 9 years old. It was last year when he was like, "Oh, I want to follow my own team," and he's still a Dodger fan, but he went from being 49ers because that's what he was, like his dad, 49er fan, and then he's like, "No, now I want to go for the Rams, the LA team. All his buddies are Rams fans, so he wanted to go for the Rams." Then he likes Odell Beckham Jr. because everybody's talking about Odell Beckham Jr. So he wants an Odell Beckham Jr. jersey. So all this crap, right? I say crap. This year, the Niners,
right,
Super Bowl,
right,
and now he wants to be a Niner fan again. So I'm like, all right, I had to tell him, look, you can't go one team, the other team,
right,
and follow whoever's winning. You gotta select the team. If you really want to go for the Rams, that's fine. It's not like I'm gonna not let him go for the Rams,
right?
But I said, you have to select a team, and then this is why. Like, you have to be passionate about the team, and when they lose, you're still there. When they're winning, you're there, but you're there all the time,
right,
from beginning to end. So he told me he's selecting I'll still watch the Rams, Dad, but the Niners are my team.
Very good.
So we'll see how long that lasts.
It really was, and I think that I was at that age too. So it was like a third grade. Yeah,
he was third grade.
Yeah. I wanted my own identity. I wanted to create my own identity.
That's normal then. That's something that I should have. Okay.
Yeah. And so my dad he questions it. He still questions it to this day. Right.
And you're 47, 46?
48. Just turned 48. Yeah. But it was my own identity. It was something that, back then I was only able to read it from the paper. I only had paper. Oh my God, it sounds like so long ago, right? From teletype. But I read the paper, or I'd watch late night sports, when I could. And,
get the
all
highlights.
you did was just to get to see just the scoreboard. You just got to see the scoreboard, right? Yeah. So it was really when like 85 when the Blue Jays actually made the playoffs for the first time against the Royals. And they lost because now they were televised because they were televising the whole playoffs. So I got to follow the players a lot more often. And so when they would play the Angels, I'd have my dad take me. I remember the time my dad took me to my first Angels Blue Jays game. He felt so awkward going to the Angel game, but he did it for me. Yeah. And I'll never forget that. And I appreciate, what my dad did, He didn't have to, but he took me. Yeah. And so from there, I had my uncle take me. And then when I could drive, I drove myself, or my buddy Manuel and we would go. So it was a great way because back then we would go for batting practice, or I try to get there for batting practice. Mm-hmm. And the jerseys, they only had the numbers. So he and we knew the players' names, because the kids were just yelling, "Hey, one, hey, one,"
yeah.
Hey, one, And I'm yelling out, "Hey, Eddie Zosky, what's going on?" And then they look, you're like, "Yeah, what's up?" And so it was a great way to get a free ball or something like that. Yeah. But it was, to me, that's how I followed the team. I really got involved. So much so now where I've even gotten involved in the farm teams. There's an MILB app. So it's the minor league app through Major League Baseball. And you can select, like, if you like the Dodgers, you can select the whole minor league team of the Dodgers. From AAA all the way to rookie ball.
All the different teams that they have.
Yeah. yeah, you have Oklahoma City, Tulsa, Rancho, Great Falls, Ogden. And so all those layers of minor league baseball, you get to see the top prospects grow
Mm-hmm.
throughout their minor league career. So, I love going to the Quakes games. Quakes games are fun. It's
Yeah.
economical. The traffic is unbearable,
Yeah.
but when you get there, it's such a fun time. I remember I took the little league kids from Fontana. We took them to one of the Quakes games, and it was just such a great time.
Yeah.
And it just brings it closer. Again, it goes back to intimacy.
Mm-hmm.
It's smaller. It's
Yeah.
so great. Last year we went to Vancouver for one of my cousin's for his 40th birthday, and we got to go. April and I went to a Vancouver game, and that's the Blue Jays like minor league rookie ball team.
Mm-hmm.
So again, small little stadium. I won free tickets.
Nice.
The game was sold out. And
Yeah.
this guy says, "Hey, how do you feel about being on TV?" I'm all, "Sure, I can be on TV. Why not?" And he gave me 2 free tickets.
Nice.
And then I was on their jumbo screen and got their best seats, and it was just great. So many beautiful stories from a sports fan, specifically baseball perspective.
Mm-hmm.
I just have, and those are great moments. Again, going back to my father, allowing me to have my own identity with my teams and not saying, "Oh, what are you doing? You're an idiot," and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But he allowed it to grow. He's like, "All
Yeah.
right, well, go ahead.
Yeah.
You like it, but I don't know why." He'd
Yeah.
question it. He still
Yeah.
does. But, I still love the Dodgers. I mean, I was fortunate to go to the 2017 Boston Dodgers World Series game,
Mm-hmm.
which was the only game that they won, but it was 2 games in one,
Yeah.
So again, another cherished moment that I'll never forget. And that
Mm-hmm.
was a great moment. And the only game the Dodgers won that game.
Yeah.
That
That
series.
series.
Yeah.
Can you think of right now? What's the first player that comes to mind that you saw in the minors, and now is just kicking ass in the majors?
I remember I saw Ballinger and Seager. I remember when they were at the Quakes.
Mm-hmm.
I saw them at the Quakes.
Yeah.
With the Quakes, and Ballinger was just tearing it up. Seager, had a rough year last year, but
Anyone that you particularly followed, like you were following their career since then?
not necessarily. I think through the website, I think MLB does a good job of highlighting the top every organization's top 30 prospects.
Mm-hmm.
So from there, you just see 1 through 30, and from there you just say, okay, I'll keep an eye on this kid. The one that Toronto just came up, the 3 of the kids that came up were Vlad Guerrero Jr., of course, Bo Bichette, and Kevin Biggio.
Mm-hmm.
So last year was their rookie year. This year was going to be that, do they have that sophomore slump or do they put it all together? But that's one of the great things that I get to see those kids come up and see what's going on, and the eventual pick that the number 1 pick, Steven Strasburg, for example.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, that's the nerd side of me. Well, I'm a nerd all over, but
Yeah.
but if I were to get into social media, so to speak, or just going to my apps, that's the 2 apps that I'll look at religiously: is the MIL, the minor league baseball app, and the MLB app.
Mm-hmm. You said you had mentioned earlier about the importance of LA, the Mexican culture, being Mexican American, following the Dodgers during the Nando Mania. There's another thing that comes close to that, being Mexican American in LA, is Morrissey. So what's the connection with being a Chicano and liking Morrissey? I don't see it. Maybe I was never a fan. But what's the connection with those two?
Well, from what I understand was that Morrissey himself, his parents were immigrants, and they came to England, and so he uses that as his fuel to ignite the Mexican culture, and I think from my understanding, that's where it stems from.
Mm-hmm.
We're immigrants, we're coming here, we want to be accepted, and so he feels that, and also the awkwardness, of being a teenager, being an outcast, His lyrics speak plenty to that. And so I've always felt that I, in some way, was some type of outcast. I wasn't Mr. Popular. I know you can't see that, but I mean, you know, but in high school, I always viewed myself as an outcast. I had glasses, so I was always picked on, and now they're like super trendy to have glasses now.
Yeah.
The irony. But to me, that's where it resonated. But you know, with Morrissey, he started out with the Smiths, and I really didn't get involved with the Smiths too much as I got involved with his solo work. So once he left the Smiths, again, my buddy Manuel, he he introduced Morrissey to myself, and so then the music was speaking to me. I liked his sound, and then later I got involved with his words and what he had to say. And so he was touring a lot more than all the other bands that I really enjoyed. So I said, why not? Let's go see him. And so Manuel was always up for going to his shows. Mm-hmm. So I'd tag along, and lo and behold, it's just this community that just is there at the show is just unbelievable.
Yeah.
And seeing the love for this person, it's just amazing because of what he has to say, and the music that is behind his lyrics. It is truly poetry, and of course I have to admit, having some adult beverages and singing along, it feels good.
Yeah.
There's this good positive energy. And who doesn't want to be around that,
Right. Yeah.
And so for me, that's what it really was. And I have to admit, the most beautiful women love Morrissey. I have to admit that,
Yeah.
and I can't put that down. At every Morrissey show or convention, there's just a lot of beautiful women, and my goodness,
Yeah.
God bless them.
It sounds like it's the Vicente Fernandez of
yes
of that genre,
mm-hmm.
I guess, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So
he's been compared to that. Yeah,
idolized he is. That's cool. I never saw the connect. Now I know it's like, okay, so the immigrant thing, the music, the lyrics, right? So that's how you guys connect. But you've taken it to another little extreme where now you're not a cover band, but now you do the karaoke's with Morrissey. Now I put you to that one, the East Side Love Bar,
right?
And they have a Morrissey Okie night, and you do it almost every.
I was doing it for every month for a while. Yes, yeah. Absolutely. That is absolutely right. You introduced me to Morrissey Okie at East Side Love, and which we have not gone.
No, we still haven't.
Right.
But we will.
Yeah.
Once this thing's all over.
Absolutely. But I went with my my cousin, who is a big Smiths fan, and he's a musician. And so we went and had the opportunity. And there's nothing more that I have to say about being in a room and not being judged. And it goes back to kind of like social media.
Yeah.
Right? Social media, you're kind of judged.
Right, of course.
People say something, whatever, you hide behind a screen.
Mm-hmm.
But with the Morrissey Okie, everybody is singing with you.
Yeah.
You sing as one.
Yeah.
And that's a beautiful thing, And it's funny because the young lady who was emceeing it during the time that I would go often, she would say, you sing along. If you boo, you get kicked out. Now, of course, she was jokingly say that.
Yeah.
But nobody was there to boo.
Right.
Nobody is there to boo. Everybody.
They're all, safe to say, they're all Morrissey fans, right? They're there because they want to see Morrissey on stage, or Paul Morrissey.
and just be there, be a part of a loving community that just cherishes this man's work. Mm-hmm. What he's put together since 1983. He just released a new album, I think last week. So, he has made such a powerful impact on my life. Mm-hmm. That he's kind of going on his own deviated right direction, he's being more a little political on these last few albums. But it doesn't take away what he's done in his earlier years,
yeah.
right? And so that to me is what I remember and what I follow and what I cherish. And it is the community that I enjoy being around. Everybody sings along. You know, you lift your glass and you have a drink, and again, just that positive energy that surrounds hearing his music.
Yeah.
It's just something to be a part of, and something to share. And I highly recommend that. Like I said, once everything clears down, I'd love for you and Italy, and for anybody who wants to go, Eastside Love every first Thursday of the new month, Morrisioki.
Yeah. And so how does that work though, real quick, with the Eastside Love Bar? You call them up, you send them because you don't have social media, so you can't send them a message on Instagram. You just call them up and say, hey, look, can you guys book me for that night? Or you just walk in, it's like open mic, you just walk in and
open mic,
up.
you just walk in there and then you sign up. Yeah, they have a list there who signs up.
Oh, cool.
And then you
So they have a little
perform.
stage for you guys?
Yeah, they have a little stage. Yeah, yeah. A little stage. You go up there and you do your song. They allow you to do it live too if you have an acoustic guitar. So Michael and I have gone up there and we've performed with an acoustic. He played the acoustic guitar and I sang. I don't know if I would say I sang, but I put my
Performed?
word. Yes, okay, performed absolutely. And yeah, it's fun. It's electric.
How much time do they give you, or do they give you guys like a red light and you're like, oh, that shit, that's all the time I have for you guys tonight, and then you have to
No,
take
it's
off,
just a
or
song. It's just your song.
one song?
Yeah.
Okay.
You just go up there. But I mean, depending on if you're going to be there the whole night, you can.
Oh, so you may have 3 or 4 songs in you if you're there all night.
Yeah.
Okay.
But what they'll do is they're very good about saying, hey, this person's coming up again. I want to give this to what they call virgins, the first timers who come and want to perform.
Yeah.
So they give them the first opportunity. Yeah. So if this is going to be my second or third time, they will give it to a person who hasn't done it for the first time.
Yeah.
So they're very
I guess that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't complain.
They made the trip, right? So
yeah.
That's
I can't
cool.
complain. Just go back, have my drink, and let's sing along with the song that they're gonna sing.
Yeah. Let me ask you: Have you ever gone back to Eastside Love Bar when it's not a Thursday Morrisioki?
No, I've been there by accident. It was actually a Dia de los 4th of July, I think it was, and they had moved it the night before. Okay. And so we were like, oh, okay, well, we're gonna leave then because it is a work night. They do have it on the first Thursday, so it's typically. I feel it that next morning. That recovery time is not there like it used to when I was younger. So definitely, if I can get an opportunity to sleep a little longer, then I'll take that advantage.
Yeah. All right. So going back to the Chicano thing again. I don't know why I keep bringing up Chicano thing, but somehow it just comes. May the 4th, right? It's taking a back seat of Cinco de Mayo, but May the 4th. How important is that to you? Is with being a Star Wars fan, or is it you're a big fanatic, right?
I'm a fan. I would say that when I was young, I would say I was a bigger fan than I am now. I mean, I love Star Wars. Star Wars is a big part of my life. But May the 4th is just a day to celebrate. Mm-hmm. I think it's a nice little play on words. May the 4th be with you.
So other than the memes, which you know nothing about because you're not on social media,
but people send it. You can still send them to text.
Oh,
you can send them through text.
So you get memes on. Okay.
Yeah. So those are cute, or the gifts. Those are nice. Just the movies. I wasn't happy about the last 3, but the last 3 being of the Star Wars, of the Skywalker saga. Mm-hmm. But again, it's a part of the Star Wars universe. Not a lot of people my age who love the original trilogy weren't big fans of episode 1, 2, and 3, but I believe they're a part of the movie. They have a story to tell. Yeah. And you knew from the beginning what episode 1 was going to lead up to. And so for me, I got to accept it. Were they the best movies? Probably not, but they're a part of the Star Wars genre. May the 4th is just another day. It's just a way to wear a Star Wars shirt or something like that out there, and wear my Star Wars Vans and say May the 4th to everybody.
Are these newer movies that are coming out, Star Wars, are they just not as creative as maybe back in 77 to 83, I think was when those 3 came out, the trilogy?
In my perspective, in my humble opinion, yes, it was, to me, it felt like it was just lazy writing.
Mm.
They were just all rehashes, reboots,
Yeah.
which is sad. If you have a subject where my brother and I could talk about that, I think we could spend hours and having that discussion. But his theory was that there's so much to pull from as far as the Star Wars universe, books wise, comics wise, and Disney failed to kind of capture that and just did a lazy reboot, lazy writing, and that's from my perspective. It was just kind of sad. There were some good parts,
Yeah.
few and far between, but it definitely for me deflated what Star Wars was when I first saw it. So
How much of that do you think is the director George?
J.J. Abrams with the last
Yeah,
two.
not having so much George,
Oh.
Lucas, right?
Yeah.
Not having him so much involved into it, because I know he was trying to say like before he sold it, he was like, you guys got to keep it to this and that. And Disney's like, nope, we're gonna do our thing.
Yeah. If you go out into if you go out online and Google that stuff or YouTube, you could see that his stories definitely were out there. I could definitely say that, his ideas were definitely different, so even then that might not have been as successful. But him not having any type of creative input had an impact, I think. One shining light, I think that's really kind of saving Star Wars right now is Mandalorian. The Mandalorian on Disney Plus is kind of takes it back to what Star Wars is. It shows a little bit of new, shows a little bit of old. It's a real good combination.
Yeah.
Stories off and on sometimes, but at least aesthetically, it looks Star Wars.
Yeah. So safe to say that you don't have any collectibles of the new stuff, only the old stuff.
Oh, right, absolutely, yes. All my gems are from original Star Wars. Yeah, not very much any new stuff other than the Funko Pops.
Yeah.
But that's about it.
How long are you gonna hang on to that stuff for?
The intention was to pass it down to my children, but
So 47, no children, huh?
not that I know of.
No, nothing, you know.
Right.
But no plans on it. You and April.
That's.
Have you guys? Am I stepping over any boundaries?
No,
here?
it's just I think that for myself right now, I really got to focus on me. I think even at 48, I'm selfish.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I'm ready to really give to a child that deserves it. I'm saying that if I'm going to have a child, he's going to be my everything right now.
He should be your everything.
They will. Yeah, they will be my everything, And I'm not at that moment right now. It's odd, but yeah.
No, there's nothing wrong. I think that's a smart move, like you're saying you're a little selfish. You still want to fix you or whatever it is. You want more of you, and because a kid does, they take they take everything. They take your time. They take your life. You can still do your thing. I mean, I'm podcasting. You know what I mean? Like, but I got the help of my wife that's able to help me out with that. But what I'm saying, what I mean by that is, you every move you make is for them.
Right.
Absolutely. You don't really do anything for yourself. You got to take that selfish part away,
yeah.
which is hard for me too, because I was very selfish, and I still am. I still am a little selfish, and it's okay, I think, to be selfish. I don't think it's there's anything wrong with that, but no, that's I don't know. I don't think I've ever asked you that.
Yeah, no. It's not very much.
I forget that you're a lot older than me. Not only 10 years older.
Right.
Not a lot.
Right.
But I do forget, because you don't seem like you're,
I think it's, I appreciate living the life through other people's children, so to speak. And kind of going back to Little League, that's why I participated in Little League in 92. I didn't have any kids, but I wanted to be a part. I wanted that connection of baseball. I still wanted to play, but I wanted to coach. A lot of, if you go through that baseball world, it said those who couldn't play coach.
Yeah. Right.
You know, and so I couldn't play. I figured I'd coach, and so it was a great way to stay connected, get involved in the community. So I appreciated that. And so when Vincent was playing Little League and I saw you guys and I was like, hey, you know what? I'd like to come see your guys' game.
Yeah.
And the winter ball was amazing. And just seeing your team's growth through that season was it just, my heart just gets big. It's like, oh man, I want to give back. I want to do this again. And allowing me that opportunity to share with your kids was, again, just a fun moment, a fun morning. And I'd love to do it again, but it was so odd. Like every time there was a weekend that would come up, the weather would change. I was like, oh, dang.
Yeah.
But I really looked forward to having that opportunity. And all of a sudden the spring ball came up. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Spring ball come around.
Yeah.
It's like, man, that was quick.
Yeah.
The blink of an eye.
Yep.
But
well, I think now with Little League not wanting us to do any kind of no more than groups of 10 or whatever, or having unofficial practices,
right,
we may be able to squeeze something out if we can bring at least 5 or 6 kids around, and have them work out a little bit.
Yeah,
but you guys didn't hear that here, no.
Safe wise, gotta be safe. 6 feet apart. Baseball's perfect.
Yeah, exactly right. No, you know what? I think I was asking you that probably because have you ever seen like a therapist or anything like that, like as far as with like your parents divorcing?
No,
I'm trying to make the connection, like because I know how a lot. I've talked to a lot of people where they say like, my parents divorced and I don't want to get married. I don't want to do this because, and it all has to do in therapy. They just throw that in you. Where, excuse me, I think when you plant that seed, it starts to grow. So I don't know.
I think that has something to do with it. Obviously, my parents, did divorce. They separated. It wasn't a very loving relationship. They had their moments, but it had an effect on me greatly, on my relationships, and it had my effect on me on having my relationships. I know that I just didn't want to. I just wasn't sure at that time, or as I got older, like, is this what a relationship is supposed to be? Because I wasn't seeing it.
Yeah,
it was very fractured, so it did have a big impact on me. But I do know that there was a time when I did propose to someone like in 94, 95, and she broke it off about a month later, and that was hard for me. That had a very big impact. That had a very big impact on me, because I felt at that point, going through what I did through my parents, I felt that I was ready to really, I found the one. Because every time I talk to somebody, how did you know? I just knew.
You just knew.
And I found.
That's the feeling that you had.
I had that. I found that, and when she said yes initially, and then a month later she said no, that also had an impact, and that's when it was dark. I went dark, and I had to prove something to myself and my self-worth, but for all the wrong reasons. And so that's where really the selfishness for me really just started. And I just said, you know what? It's just going to be about me, and I don't care about anybody else. Yeah. So that's where it started for me.
Well, you should definitely start looking. Obviously, not every relationship is going to work.
Oh, right.
So, with your parents didn't work out, maybe, if that had such a big influence, you start looking at your friends around you, right? Relatives, seeing how well their relationship works, because it's different. You have to defer sometimes.
Right.
And sometimes the personalities. I met your mom very short time. She left us early. And your dad, very strong attitudes, man. Yeah. They both alpha dogs. Yeah. Two alpha dogs can't get along sometimes all the time. One of them has to defer.
Right.
Making you the beta.
Right.
So sometimes in relationships you have to defer, and maybe not always, maybe sometimes on certain things.
Right.
And that's kind of how. I don't want to make this a counseling session.
Oh.
But I'm just putting it out there as far as like, you just gotta work together sometimes, and
Well, now I've met a really great gal. We live together. Shout out to April. And so it is learning that, what it's like living with someone. We've been living together now for going on 2 years. So it really is just going through the ups and downs, the ebbs and flows of the relationship. And so it's just figuring it out, but I'd like to figure it out together.
yeah.
And,
Oh yeah, as you should.
And something, again, going back to, again, speaking from the sports perspective, it's teamwork, right? And so it really is, and we're just that's the dynamic that we're working through, is making sure that we work through as a team, and that I remove the selfishness from myself to help her when she needs it. And so I still have a battle with that. It's my doing. And it's each day I figure if I could recognize that, but I got to recognize it when it's happening as opposed to after the fact.
Yeah.
Then the progression will definitely make it a harmonious relationship in my eyes.
And there's nothing wrong with realizing that a little late and still going back to it and revisiting. There's nothing wrong with that
Right.
either. So don't let that influence your next move.
Yeah.
Because it is chess. Marriage is chess.
Well, I'm playing checkers then.
And then going back to what you said earlier too, you said what some people say like, oh, when I first met her, man, it was love at first sight, or I just knew it was the one. That's not true. No, that's not true, right?
Well, at least everybody I talk to.
That's not true. It's not true, because it takes work. You got to put in the work. You gotta see what works for you guys. What it's trial and error,
Right.
and then that's what's gonna work out for you guys. And when I say defer, I don't mean to say like yes sir. It's
Right,
not
right.
like that.
No,
It's
you're
just when you're debating about something and something that a solution has to come out of it.
Right.
Someone's gonna have to defer.
Right.
And if it's the same person over and over and over, okay, well then someone's cheating.
Right.
You know what I mean? Let's
Right.
make some, I don't know, whatever. I just stupid analogies, but
No, you're right, because the relationship is, if it's heavy-sided or one-sided, from what I've seen, been watching a lot of Lifetime shows, because that's what she likes to watch.
yeah. And we have a lot more time now.
Right? Yeah, it can definitely go sideways really quick.
Yeah.
So I definitely am aware of it, and it really is just, it's not going to be like that.
No.
It's never, this is it, this works, we've got this. It is just putting in the work, putting in the effort, rolling up the sleeves and saying, okay, today's going to be a better day, or you know what, yeah, I got this, or I'll help you with anything that you need, and make that a priority.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, every day that I see that for us, it is an opportunity really to help our relationship grow, because that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to continue to grow. I wanted to flourish.
Yeah. I like that. I know, and I've seen it, dude, because I have, like just seeing you and the way you are and the way you act with her, like I see it, like, and we're super proud. Like, I don't know. It sounds weird and mushy, but no, we are. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it was a kind of going back.
I mean, just making the big step of moving in together. That's a big step.
Oh, yeah.
You and your brother had shared that time. That was your guys' time for a while, because like you guys had split up for a while, like as far as living together.
Yeah.
He was raised by his father, right? A little bit more later in his life, and then you were raised with your mom.
Right. So, you're right. Yeah. When my parents were, kind of going through their separation, especially in high school, my mom lived with me, lived with us my freshman and sophomore year. She moved out. Our dad moved in, junior and senior year. And so once I graduated, my dad gave me,
Ultimatum.
Ultimatum. He's, you can come stay with me. We'll stay in Rosemead. But if you choose to move to Fontana, live with your mom, I'm taking Rudy and we're going to live in West Covina. And so, my father is, very hard-headed.
Oh, yeah.
And I think we shared the same type of personality. And again, I was 18,
Yeah.
you know, just being a rebel,
Yeah.
you know, trying to just do everything against my father at that time.
Yeah.
I said, you know what, I'm just going to live with mom. And so he took Rudy and he lived in West Covina. And, you know, I lived in Fontana. So that's one of the first life choices that I had to make.
Yeah. That was the first time that you guys were apart, right? You and your brother.
Rudy and I.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How long did you guys were apart for? Like what, 5 years?
Let's see, 90, moved out in 90, and then
Almost 10 years then.
yeah, because when he invited me to move in with him, that was in 2000 or 2001.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So yeah, so going back, you guys were there for 2001, almost 20 years together,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like you guys went from that apartment to that house, or apartment to house.
Yeah. We were a married couple.
You guys were a married couple.
We were a married
Yeah.
couple. Yeah.
I remember going to the apartment, man. You guys had a bucket of sunflower seeds.
Oh,
You remember
yeah.
that thing?
I love that.
It was a cool look.
Club 542, man. I loved that Covina apartment. It was such an older apartment,
Yeah.
but it had so much space.
Yeah.
It was great. I loved the balcony,
Yeah.
the living room, the kitchen, everything about that place. I really, really enjoyed. You wouldn't think that it would hold so many people, and yet it did. It holds a lot more people than my current place that I live in right now. That's for sure. But yeah, and then we moved to our place in 2008, and you know, our first home together. But same thing, that relationship really, and I say that it became kind of like a marriage because there were times when Rudy and I didn't speak. You know, he would go up to his room, I would stay in the living room. You know, we wouldn't sit and talk with each other because we were all doing kind of our things.
Yeah.
And you know, we would get into it too over softball.
Yeah.
You know, and so it was again that relationship that I'm trying to build. And so once he got the opportunity to move to Escondido, you know, fortunately I had April as my partner. We were talking about already getting a place prior to that. This just accelerated it.
Yeah.
And we got the place in Almani. And so that time away now from Rudy has, you know, I think has strengthened our relationship because now it's like a genuine, like, I miss you, Rudy.
Yeah.
You know, how's everything going? You know, you and Sarah and everything. So, you know, I look forward to those conversations or those text messages. You know, it's like, oh, okay, good. You know,
Nice.
So yeah, I think it's been a good separation.
Yeah. The social distancing is working over there too.
Right. Very strong. Yeah.
No, that's cool, man. No, I think we're all growing up, dude. Every year it's a new year. It's new things are, you know, new developments and stuff. So we grow up and we adjust and we develop and we evolve, right? We evolve. So it's just it's just as long as we're doing it the positive way, you know, and learn from our mistakes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. You know, and be humble.
Yeah.
I think you for me, I have to be humble when someone is talking to me or sharing something with me for a reason. It's obviously to help me, you know, and not to, and get pride out of the way and say, you know what, this is to help me and make me a better person. So I always appreciate feedback. I always appreciate, you know, friends and family, you know, sharing their insights because that's important. You know, I lock that away in my memory bank and know that, you know, hey, this is good. This is going to help me out. And if I can help someone out, I'm definitely going to want to share that with them. And if they take it, and great. If they don't, well, you know, that's okay too. You know, all right with that. But I definitely know it's coming from a caring place.
Yeah. This is a perfect opportunity for all of us to check ourselves and get a little humbled just in these next few weeks.
Yeah.
Coming ahead, you know, with the not having our sports and not having all that entertainment that we're used to, the social gatherings of going to clubs and restaurants, it's definitely going to humble us.
Yeah, it really is. I think for me, it's, you know, it is appreciating these, again, moments. These moments are important because you don't know what's going to happen the next day. Things happen so fast.
Yeah.
You know, where is this all going to take us? But we'll get out of it. I mean, this is we're going to see the light. We're going to get through this, and we're going to look back at this and hopefully learn from it. You know, I think that this pandemic this time in our lives is only going to make us better. It's going to make us stronger. I don't want to get political or anything, but there was division taking place leading into this year.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a lot of division within these last 3 years that hopefully the communities will get us together, because I don't think 45 knows what the hell he's doing.
Yeah.
And so the communities have to come together and help each other out, and love thy neighbor. You have to kind of, if you're not religious, but just look at that, and that's what all religions are about, is helping each other, being morally a good person, and helping families, helping communities, doing whatever it is that you can, and if it's staying home, then it's staying home.
Yeah.
You don't think about it. Well, he doesn't want to come see me. Well, don't think of it that way. Think of it as, what, we're kind of in a situation where we kind of have to stay home.
Right.
And God bless my grandfather. He's 96, and I want to go see him, but I know that I shouldn't.
Right.
And I call him, at least every week to see how he's doing, and he's hanging in there. So that's good. He's been in his own self-quarantine for like the last couple of years, but but God bless him. He's still.
Is he still alone, or is Steve over there with him?
No,
he's still alone. Damn.
But he's doing well.
That's good.
He's doing well.
Yeah,
so he's self-quarantined. He's on his own personal lockdown. So he's good.
Good for him. Well, there you go. And you had said 45. I really believe we're going to have 45 for another 4 years. So we do have to evolve with the times and with them, because I strongly believe that's going to happen. So for 4 more years, we'll have 45. It'll be 46 now. But that's just what I feel.
Yeah, that's definitely a touchy subject.
Yeah.
If you want to.
I mean, we don't have to go there here right now in this podcast, but
yeah.
But anyways, I want to thank you for coming on and talking with me and having this conversation, because it's been a while. It was overdue.
Yeah,
well overdue. So thanks for coming out, especially in this time when we're supposed to be at homes.
Well,
in our homes.
I appreciate you reaching out and giving me the opportunity to share a little bit about myself with you and at your podcast. I really do appreciate that. But I'm very grateful for the opportunity, and I think you're doing a great thing. I think it's therapeutic.
Thanks. Oh, yeah.
I think that as we go through these times and we do reach out and connect, I think these are one of the positive things about social media that people need, because once we shut everything down, that's when we know shit's getting real.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Shit's going to get real.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, thanks a lot. Again, this is Fidel. That's Paul. This is Talking Again Podcast, The Tap, and we are tapping out for tonight.
Tapping out.
We'll tap out with our knuckles. Oh, elbows. There you go. All right. Another episode of Talking Again Podcast is in the books. Please don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can stay up to date. If you enjoyed the show, please tell your friends and family so you can share the experience. Now, it's time to close out the tap.